Welcome back! Well, we have reached level 50 now, and it has been quite an adventure so far. This is quite a milestone to reach now, level 50. And in this video, I'm going to be playing a level which I actually played before in one of the unreleased videos that came after the erased mine cluster one, before the new level order was released. And it's basically a level that's unlike any of the other levels in this set. It's kind of meant to be sort of a joke, and, well, not a joke, but it's meant to be less solved and more learned from. It's basically meant to show off how not to make a level. And as you can probably expect from Rock, the level showcases one of his biggest pet peeves, which is lucky timing. And I'll show you now what I mean. Yeah, you basically slide around on ice and avoid these blobs that are hurtling towards you unpredictably. And there's really no way you can tell at all what's going on here. I mean, it's just really difficult like that. I mean, there's really no way I could have seen any of that coming, right? So yeah, I mean, I'm just going to show you around this level. I don't really know if I want to try to beat it. I've tried for like an hour and a half before, maybe almost that much. I'm not exactly sure how long it was that I tried. And I have no idea why I did that. I could have totally seen that coming. But my computer's lagging for some reason. I'm not sure what's going on here, but at any rate, it's acting a little bit better than it was before. Anyhow, this is basically an exercise in what not to do when you design a level. And the problem that I have with this sort of level, and keep in mind, I'm not trying to criticize Rock here because he intentionally made this bad. This is basically a criticism of this level designing style, which has been employed by other designers and is being made fun of here. It's basically, leaving no room for skill. And to me, that kind of defeats the purpose of this game, because the purpose of the game is to, make sure that you, build, yeah, see, like that. You build skill and are able to use it. And when you have something like that, and, where you can't see what's coming, then, that kind of, yeah, like, that one maybe it was a little bit better because I could have waited there. But if you can't really see what's coming, then, it's just really hard to play the level. And it's even harder to solve it, obviously, because you really don't know exactly where you're going. I mean, there's really no control that you can exert over any of your circumstances here. I mean, yeah, could I have seen any of that coming right there, or this blob right there? I mean, I couldn't have. I mean, like that right there, he came from off frame. There's really no way I could have seen that. Perhaps one of the most classic examples of this sort of level designing style was there was a level in, I believe, it was an old level set, I think it was an01.dat, called Best of Luck. The rest of the level set was great. There was one level, though, called Best of Luck, which kind of got panned by a lot of chipsters. And the main premise of this level was that you were on an ice spiral. Basically, that was your only move, was to go into this spiral from the beginning. And essentially, you just slid around continuously for probably about 2 minutes, maybe less than that. And meanwhile, tons of blobs and walkers patrolled the area and could instantly kill you with the slightest move in your direction. So it was basically a battle of luck. Now, keep in mind, I don't really find... Now, some people may disagree, but I don't really find there anything to be wrong with randomness in levels. Randomness is a tool that can be used well. Unpredictability is something fun, or can be something fun, if it all comes down to your reactions. If it all comes down to, how you handle everything, then yeah, that's one thing. It's one thing if it all comes down to skill, like BlobNet tests patience, that's what it's all about. Being patient, trying to make sure that, whoa, okay, trying to be careful here. I think this is generally a safe spot, though. Okay, there we go, made it here. Okay, I'm definitely safe there. Now I have to go back to the start. But yeah, BlobNet, it tested patience. You were able to figure out, what to do because you needed to time everything right, and you could, apply some amount of logic to what was going on. And I totally messed that up. I'm going to practice that. Well, actually, I can't practice that dodging very well here. I'll figure it out. Anyway, I'm just going to try to solve the level for a little while. If I don't get it in probably 15 minutes, I'll just move on. But I just kind of want to take this time to reiterate a lot of things that have been said about level designing because, I mean, I think people are getting to the point now where we are all starting to learn what makes a good level. I mean, we're all starting to see that there is a balance to be found between, skill and, or not skill, but between, puzzle solving and action. And, some chipsters prefer one over the other. And there are some players, who prefer harder levels over easier ones and vice versa. I personally enjoy harder levels just because, they're normally out of the norm if at this point levels are difficult for a lot of people who've played the game for a while. It usually showcases a unique concept. Levels involve things that are generally new or interesting that haven't been seen in the game before. And if you can combine all these tiles in some really cool, unique way, then that's pretty cool. That's an awesome feat that you've accomplished if you can get like the last level. If you could get somebody who has played the game for a long time stumped on something like that, then that is really awesome. And I'm not trying to make a statement about my ability to play the game or anything. That's not what this is about. I'm just saying that if you can get somebody who's familiar with the game and just totally stump him like what happened with the last level. I mean, that's really awesome. I mean, that's a testament to your level design right there. And honestly, CCLP 3, some people have complained that it's too much in the way of puzzles and difficult levels and such. But if you think about it, it makes sense. I mean, the Chips Challenge community got to the point, generally where it began to see that there was a lot more potential in levels based on what we saw in CCLB 2, a lot of untapped potential. And a lot of that was brought out in the period of submissions between 2006 and 2010, where people submitted levels for CCLB 3. And unfortunately, part of the problem was that submissions were open for so long that there were so many good levels, and by good I mean unique levels in this case, and a lot of them were difficult, that it was really hard to just pick favorites. I mean, you really couldn't nail down what was better than the other because they were all so different. I mean, a level like Avalanche, level 147 of CCLB 3 is going to be a lot different than You Can't Teach an Old Frog New Tricks, level 144. And, you really couldn't draw any comparison between the two. I mean, they're all strong in their own ways. And, some people may like one over the other in that particular case, I don't know. But for the most part, people were torn. And, we all thought everything was deserving. A lot of us did, at least. Maybe not all of us, but a lot of us thought a lot of these levels were deserving, and so we voted accordingly. And not surprisingly, a lot of those levels made it into the set. And maybe part of this, I call it the cloner's maze syndrome, just because when people played CCLP 2, there were a lot of levels in there that weren't exactly optimization friendly, but were still fun. But a lot of people forgot about them. Like, let's just say Well of Wishes, for instance. I mean, I haven't really heard a peep about Well of Wishes since like the 3 months after CCLP 2 was released. I mean, hardly anybody ever talks about that level, and it's sad because it's such a great level. I mean, I love it. It's very well designed. It's got great artistic merit. I mean, there's just so much about it that I just think makes for a worthy, Chips Challenge 1 style level. It doesn't really strive to be anything super ambitious in the difficulty department, but it's just all around enjoyable. And, people liked those levels when they first played them, but then I think to a certain extent when people started playing a level like Cloner's Maze, level 147 of CCLP 2, there was a tendency to look at that and see all the optimization potential that came out of that level and then go, ooh, we could make levels like this. This was at least what was going through my head, and it seemed to be going through the heads of other designers based on a lot of what I saw. A lot of levels were just designed just so that they could be replayed over and over again. And a lot of votes were taken such that, levels that were voted on positively could be replayed over and over again. I mean, sure, there were some exceptions, like, CCLP 3 had, excellent, maybe not so replayable for optimization levels, like Redoubled Effort, for instance. I mean, I gave that the highest rating ever just because I thought it was a great level. But, I think a lot of people tend to overlook those sorts of levels. I mean, maybe not that particular one, but, other levels that were simple, but, maybe not optimization oriented, but just nice levels. And I think maybe now we've reached the point where we're kind of exhausted over optimization as a community now. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but, a lot of us have realized that optimization isn't everything. I mean, not everybody. I mean, there's still a lot of people who are into optimization, and I'm still one of them. I mean, I may not do it all the time anymore because I realize the benefits of just, slowing down and not always thinking about it. But, for the most part, there are still some who enjoy optimizing, but then there are still some who really just want to enjoy playing the game casually. And they realize that good level design reflects, you know, thought toward both sets of players. I mean, it's not just one catering to one set of players over the other. And unfortunately, as a level designer, I have done, unfortunately, the catering to the optimization crowd only in my level design much of the time. I mean, if you look through my level set, it's mostly levels that involve lots of boosting, block pushing, things that would stump optimizers who just want to seek the highest score instantly. So I actually expected when CCLP 3 was released that a lot of people who played the levels that I made that were in there to get really frustrated, because then they would realize that it wasn't just going to be as simple as just solving the level twice to get the highest score. So in some ways, one of the reasons I did that was just so that people could realize that optimization wasn't really quite as easy as a task as they might have thought initially. So in some ways, I really wanted to bring this, or help bring this about, because I did enjoy playing levels, through casually. I mean, it wasn't quite intentional at first, but in some ways, I guess I kind of wanted revenge of my own, because when I was playing through a level set that was really awesome but difficult to optimize, like Tom R1, for instance, it would be a lot of fun to optimize, but at the same time, a lot of people who optimize, easier level sets probably didn't quite understand that a level set like Tom R1 was a lot of work to optimize. And so I kind of wanted to create levels that reflected that would be interesting for a CCLP, just so that, optimizing could be shown, to be hard work. It wasn't just, getting a route, releasing an AVI, and then just following it, because I don't really believe in just taking AVI routes or video routes and just copying them. I mean, I like to earn, my scores and everything, and try to come up with solutions on my own. There's a few exceptions to that rule, but for the most part, I really don't want to cheat in that regard. Maybe that's just me. I mean, that's just my opinion, but I guess I'm happy that things have gone the way they have. That optimization is kind of dying down now, and that, level design is beginning to be a little bit more balanced now. Like this level set, I've enjoyed it just because the levels are very well designed. I mean, and I know I'm saying that as I'm playing this level, but you see my point here is, most of these levels may not necessarily be the optimizer, the optimizer friendly levels, but they're good ones. I mean, they're fun. They're very well designed. The aesthetic of a lot of them is just incredible. Like, I mean, just look at the last level, Overlap. I mean, that level's design was just amazing. Just the use of clone machines and bombs that really didn't really serve any purpose gameplay wise, but just made for some really cool looks. I mean, that right there shows me that, that's something that people are now thinking about, and I think that's really cool, because the original level designers often thought about it too. I mean, you look at a level like, say, Metastable to Chaos. I mean, do they really need all those little sections of 2x1 dirt or floor spaces among the dirts? I mean, they really didn't, but, I mean, it just added so much to the level. I mean, it made it look really nice. I mean, presentation, to a certain extent, is much of what makes a good level, especially in an age where ideas are used so often. I mean, the idea in Metastable to Chaos has been repeated how many times? I mean, tons of times by various level designers, and most of the time, the design isn't really thought very much up at all. It's just the concept. But a concept without a good design normally doesn't exactly a good level make, and this level set has shown that both should work hand in hand. I mean, you take a look at Convergence, for instance. I mean, it seems like a messy melee level at first, but if you look under the hood, there's just so much cool, symmetry and, things like that. And maybe I'm just, lavishing too much praise, in some people's eyes, but, to me that's really awesome. I know some people may not be so enamored with that, but, it helps set it apart from other levels that have the same sort of gameplay aspects, The same thing goes with Hockey Game. I mean, there's a lot of levels that involve monsters sliding around on ice and you having to dodge them in some confined location and all that, but the very layout of the thing and basing it on a real world scenario really gave it some new life that really helped you enjoy it more when you played it. So it's just things like that I've noticed in this level set that I just think are really awesome. And I just want to encourage you, Rock, keep on designing levels, whether it's Chips Challenge, whether it's whatever, remember these principles wherever you go if you're designing levels for a game. Because, they're good principles to, fall on, at least one rule of thumb I tend to go by, and this can be stretched to an extreme, and it can be kind of made cruel, is, try to make, if you try to make a level that in which players could mess up, at least try to make it feel like the game is not what's causing them to mess up. Try to make it feel like they need to improve or that they have control over their situation. Because, people want to feel like they're improving. And I know you know this because, you are always, concerned with how much you're progressing through levels when you play them in an LP. And that's a good thing to be concerned about. And, whoa, did I just see what I thought I just saw there? Yeah, check that out. The monster is totally not on top of me. That's so cool. I don't know what that glitch is called, but I remember it was showcased on the news group like probably 8 years ago. But yeah, things like that, just making sure that when you design levels and people mess up, at least they feel like they're the ones for the mess up and, they're the ones who caused the mess up and, they can fix it themselves by learning something and moving on. My favorite style level, and maybe some of you gathered this when I played Overlap last time, it was the type of level where you can play through, you may not necessarily be sure what's going on, but you feel like, there's a certain solution, and then you go through and then you discover that that solution is totally nothing like what you thought, the real solution is totally nothing like what you thought the solution was originally. Like, I like that kind of level. To me, that's fascinating. Like, yet another puzzle is a great example of that without spoiling anything for you guys. And right now I am really worried about messing up here. Okay, I'm going to concentrate now. It took me this many attempts to get back here. Okay, I'm going to try just walking on the track here, and just to let you know, guys, I'm actually really tired right now, so I'm sorry if I'm kind of just not exactly with it tonight. I'm just rambling like crazy here about all this stuff. So don't mean to be rambly. Whoa, that was super risky. Wow. I cannot believe I just attempted that. Okay. It's not exactly going to be the safest thing ever, but I'm just going to try to get back over here and try to do this ball thing. Okay, I think I got it. There we go. Okay. There we go. Okay, so just wait here. There we go. I think I got this now. Okay, so just get this. Okay, this is going a lot better. Okay, so just get red. Okay, the question is, I think red is up here, right? Yes, good. Okay, we're almost done. We're almost done. Is everybody somewhere else? Like, all those blocks? Whoa! Whoa. Close call. Oh my goodness. That was close. Wow. Okay. This is going to be really tough, guys. I'm hoping this will go well. Wish me luck on the way to the exits. Here we go. Whoa. Okay. Whoa. Yes. Okay. Way to the exit. On the way to the exit. Gingerly stepping. Yes. Oh boy. Not good. Okay. Yes! I beat Blob Lake. Yes, 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 yes. Awesome! Yes! I made it. Level conquered. Sweet. Alright, and we get the first decade message, which is about the ice, which you guys might remember from the original game, if you remember the original game or saw it. And so this basically talks about ice. And the next level involves ice. So, awesome level placement, Rock. So, we will continue with this level, Mnemonic Ice, in the next video.